Hi there, it's Brenda, and I'm going to show you today how to do a variation of the double seed stitch. And we're going to do a baby blanket size. And what the yarn I'm using right now is 3 skeins of the chalk pink Burnett Blanket Big. If you wanted to do the Eternal Bliss, I would recommend 4 skeins. For a baby blanket size. So in this variation of the double seed stitch, I will be knitting it vertically versus horizontally, alternating 2 knits and 2 purls for 2 rows, and then reversing the sequence. So let's go ahead and start our cast on chain. And you do not have to burn, you can knot if you prefer. And I usually do a measuring tape. Baby blanket size for me is about 30-inch width by 36 length. So let's do 23 cast on. And I'm gonna do the loop, pull your yarn through, and my cast on loops are about 2.5 inches in length. I like to keep them a little bit bigger than my regular body stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we're going to pull our stitches through the chain. Again, there's variations on this part. You can do it through the tops, or you can do it through the middle. It really does not make a difference. So you put your finger and thumb through and pull the yarn to pull out your stitch right through the middle. And we're going to do this up until you get to the end of the row. The stitches I pull out are about 2 inches, so a little bit smaller than the cast on chain. And you can do knit stitch on the edges, or you can do the pattern all the way across. That part is up to you. I prefer to do the knit edges, regardless of the pattern. All right, let's see how many we have, just to double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 23. Perfect. And 23 equals about 30 for me. If you wanted to do a 40-inch width, you could do about 28 cast on. Okay, so we're gonna start with our knit stitch, and then we're gonna do a purl stitch, and then a knit stitch and a purl stitch, and we're gonna keep doing that all the way to the end. Knit, purl. And the purl is where you push the yarn through the front, the knit goes through the back. I hope you like this double seed stitch vertical. I do prefer it to the horizontal type of seed stitch. Knit, purl. Try and keep your purl stitches a little bit tight. I'll show you how you can do that. You push it through the front, and then while you're holding on to the stitch, you can pull it, the working yarn, towards you, and you can make the stitch a little smaller. The purl stitches tend to loosen up, which is why I like to make them smaller. Okay, purl stitch and then a knit stitch. And I'm now going to leave the edge, and we're going to repeat the stitches we just did. So since we ended with a purl, we're going to start with a purl and then a knit, and then purl and knit, purl and knit, purl and knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. And we're going to do a purl and a knit. Again, after we knit the edge, I'm just going to leave it. So now that we've done our first 2 rows, we are going to start our second, our 3rd and 4th rows are going to be the opposite of the first 2 rows. So since we did 2 purls here, we're going to knit, and then purl, and then knit, purl, and knit, purl, and knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. And we're going to do purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and knit, and knit the edge. Now we are going to repeat the same, going back to the left. So since we just ended with a knit, we're going to do a knit stitch, and then we'll do a purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, stitch. So we are going to be starting row 5, and we are going to repeat rows 1 and 2. So we're going to do a purl. We'll leave the edge stitch, do a purl, and then a knit, and a purl, and a knit. And you can start to see as you go along the pattern. After a few more rows, you'll see like, oh, this is 2 knit stitches, so I'm going to do a purl. And 2 purls, so I'm going to knit, and so on. So a knit stitch, and then a purl. So it is basically, like I said, a 2-row variation. You do the first 2 rows, and then you reverse for the second 2 rows. And then you repeat those throughout the whole blanket, doing only knits for the edges. Like I said, unless you want to do purls, and your purls all the way across the blanket, you can do that. It just looks a little bit different. Instead of having a uniform look all the way around. So I am going to, we just purled, I'm going to purl, leave that edge, and then I'm going to knit, purl, knit, and so on. Now we're gonna reverse and do the knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. It's a really fun pattern to do. And if you know the knit and purl stitches, you should have no problem with this pattern. Because we're knitting, the second to the last, if you were going to be doing the edge pieces different, you know, like I said, following the pattern, it wouldn't be knit, it would then be purl. That makes sense. All right, I am going to be back after I knit a few more rows here to finish off the blanket. Okay, I'm back and I'm almost done. I've got 4 more rows to go. So we're gonna go back where we started and start with a knit stitch. purl, knit, purl, knit. And then I will show you how I cast off. You will have a little bit of yarn left over if you're using the Bernette Blanket Big Yarn, the 3 skeins, that you could make a little stuffy or a pillow, round pillow, or you could just make your baby blanket a little bit longer. So thanks for joining me on my channel, and I want to give a shout out to my first 200 subscribers. I appreciate y'all so much, and sharing in my passion with me. If you'd like to see something in particular, just write it in the comments below. All right, now we're going to go back to purling first and then knit. And we will do one more row after this. And then I'll show you the cast off process. Again, there's more ways you can do it than one. But I'll show you the most commonly way I do it. All right. And we're gonna purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. If you want to do multiple colors, I would recommend knitting in your color change. Otherwise your purl dots will show up, and I prefer not to have dots, so I just, regardless of the pattern, I knit my color change. I just did a double seed vertical in a black, gray, and silver, and I just loved the way it turned out. Okay, so we're ready to cast off, and what we're gonna do, we will be doing it a little bit bigger, just like the cast on chain. So you take your end stitch and the next stitch on your finger, you pull the working yarn through both, and you continue one stitch on your finger, grab the second and pull the working yarn through. And we continue to do this all the way across. Pick up 2, pull it through. Pick up 2, pull it through. Like I said, if you wanted to do it a little bit longer, you could probably have enough yarn for 4 more rows to make it 30 by 40. Okay, we're down to the last stitch. And you can see there's just a little bit of yarn left. So I'm going to trim it off with about 2 inches to spare. I'm going to take the end and put it through the last loop and pull it tight. Tie a knot. You don't have to tie a knot, it's just the way I do it. And I tuck it in to the cast off chain, and I take a needle and thread and sew that together so that it'll stay in there nicely. So I hope you enjoyed learning this stitch with me, and I'll see you next time.